Today I'd like to review a system that I just recently bought. This wasn't sent to me. This is an Ambernic Q2. Also, I think the official model number is J9. It's hard to tell because it's really on the box. It's called the Mini Music Game System, which is probably the worst name ever. No one's going to remember that. It's pretty generic, but the reseller Anbernic is calling it the Ambernic Q2. I bought it. No one sent this to me for free, so this will be pretty honest. Perhaps someone will send something to me for free. That would be great. I look forward to that day. But for now, I'll buy my own stuff. And I got this purely because I was curious. It looked similar to the Playdate, so I was even more curious. I just like the look of it. And I think other people think the same thing. They think it looks great, so they just want to know more about it. It's cheap. It's $20 pretty much if you get it directly from like AliExpress or something like that. It's not too bad. It's really it's good value for what you're getting. With that said, what are my first impressions of this? My first impressions are that it's very light. It feels good. The volume on the side it's not on the side, it's on the front. It's a really weird toggle. So every time every time you push up or down, it just resets to the middle. It's kind of, you would figure, it looks like if you slide it all the way up, the volume's high, but it's not. You have to keep clicking it up and it bounces back to the middle. It's really weird, but it works. But if you're looking at a picture of it, you're just assuming that it's just like a slide. It just slides up and down, and wherever you leave it, it's going to stay, but it doesn't work that way. I've seen people review it and they don't like it. They think it's broken, whatever. But it's just another way to get the volume up and down. You could have done the same thing with like 2 buttons, but they tried to get a little fancy. It's fine. It works. One of the most annoying things I think about it is, at least from first impressions, is the menu screen. The sound of selecting everything is the same sound. It's very obnoxious. I don't like it, and the graphics of it are hard to read. It's a weird monkey or something. I just don't like it. But I'm hoping in the future people can hack it and we can get rid of those. That would be wonderful. The specs show that the screen is a 2.8-inch HD screen. It is in color. It does have a battery life of like two and a half to 3 hours. I don't know if that's true. That's what they're claiming. I'll probably test that to be sure. It supports 6 emulators: Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and FBA, which is the Final Burn Alpha, Game Boy Black and White. It does have, you can do multiple players, but you have to get the extra controller. It looks really weird and uncomfortable. There's a video out there of 2 people playing it at the same time, and it's hilarious, and I hope I can find it. But I do have a picture of it, but it's just, the screen is so small that it just looks impossible to play with 2 players. But you assume when you're looking at this that the gamepad's going to work for 1 player, but it doesn't. It's only for the second player. I don't have one, so I can't confirm that, but from what I've read so far, that's what the case is. It does play music. It does do 720 video. I don't know if anyone's going to use it for that. Maybe on a plane trip or something. People want something, throw a couple movies on. The SD that can go into this thing is, it can get up to 32 gig. So you could certainly put some movies on this if you wanted to. I've seen other people review this. One of the big complaints is the headphones, and they look real cheap. They're cheap, but people are complaining, oh, there's earwax on them, that there's hair on them. I don't know. I didn't see that. They immediately, whatever. They look cheap. They were nice enough to put them in there, but I didn't get any free earwax or anything like that. So I say just use some other headphones. Another complaint, that's it, is people think it's a ripoff of the Playdate, but it's totally different. There's no crank on it, obviously. It doesn't cost $149. The Playdate's black and white. It's a whole different system. Originally, when the Playdate came out, they were like, "Oh, it's a Game Boy with a crank." Who's ripping off who? No, I don't think it's. It might be a ripoff of the design. It looks like a good design to me. I don't think it's a ripoff of the Playdate. It's not claiming to be the Playdate. If they wanted to be clever, they could call it, something else, the play game or something like that. But it's totally different, in my opinion. Another complaint was, I think there was one reviewer that didn't even have games. Didn't even come with games. It does come preloaded with games, maybe depending on where you get it from. When I got it, it came preloaded. I immediately took out the SD card, plugged it into my computer, and added a bunch of ROMs, removed the video, because there's like a video it comes with music. I deleted all that just to save room. So how does the system play the emulators? On the Game Boy original, it's probably the best. 9 out of 10. It plays the game smoothly, no issues. It was fun, no issues there. I picked Bill and Ted's just because the movie came out, but yeah. So the Game Boy Color, that also came out pretty good. Didn't have any real issues, no slowdown. It looked good. It sounded okay. Not the best, but adequate. It felt like I was playing a Game Boy Color. No issues there. And I ended up playing that game way longer than I expected, so I had to clip it. This is probably the worst Nintendo game ever. Cliffhanger, but it seemed fine. Just a little bit of slowdown. I would imagine it would be hardly noticeable. And this game's awful. I really didn't like it. Super Nintendo was rough. It was very slow. Probably the slowest out of all of the emulators. Still playable, but not very good. It depends what game you play. Wasn't so bad. Super Mario was rough, very slow. The sound obviously stunk. The Sega Genesis was a little bit slow. I usually pick Kid Chameleon. It's like my favorite Sega Genesis game. I played it so much that I can tell like right away that there was something wrong with the speed. The sound was awful. So unfortunately, I wouldn't use this for Sega Genesis. Game Boy Advance wasn't too bad. I think it depends on what game you play. I love Final Fight. It was a little slow. The sound was off. Wasn't too bad, but not great. Playable, but not great. My final thoughts are, if you're a collector, definitely get it. If you're a hacker, absolutely get it. I look forward to someone hacking this so it can be better. Maybe it's the emulator, maybe it's the hardware. I don't know. If you're like me, you'll just fill it with Game Boy Color and Game Boy Black and White games and call it a day. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you saw, or if you have any comments or questions or concerns, please write it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.